What if we told you that many of the topics you're talking about online are being driven by entertainment companies who have managed to use bots to infiltrate the very platforms you love? And thereby they are now manipulating the topics that you will discuss in a way that is favorable to them. Folks, we have brand new strategies the entertainment companies appear to be using from the man who uncovered it all. This is a video you cannot miss. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel. We are so happy to have you with us today, and we are so happy to have Master of the TDS returning yet again to explain to us how our online conversations and news, well, it's all being manipulated. Master of the TDS, welcome back, sir.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be back.
Now, you have been making the rounds, of course, and at this point, I would say that you are known by tens of thousands, maybe even topping 100,000 folks out there following exactly what you have found out. Mark Kern retweeting your stuff that you're finding now that's having to do with Warhammer. Seems like everywhere you go, Master of the TDS, you are discovering more and more bots, but they're being used in this very specific way. And so bots have always existed since the dawn of the internet, and those who have wielded them have welded them to do what they want. And, you know, we all knew about that. What has changed is that when Elon Musk brought in the blue checkmark system, which was verified accounts attached to bank accounts, somewhere somebody has figured out a way of connecting vast numbers of quote unquote verified accounts with bank accounts, but they're not real people. And this is at massive scale with tremendous amounts of money behind it. We at least know that it's affecting entertainment, but it may actually affect politics and governments and all kinds of things. This is truly the dark, dark, dark web, and you have shown a light on it. Could you share with us some of the newest things that you've learned and how it's impacting things like Star Wars Outlaws and other Disney entities and all kinds of stuff that folks out there might not be aware of? Share with us, please.
Sure. What I want to share, importantly, first off, is that I want to say that I've been digging into this bot stuff for a while now, so much so that I've kind of it's gotten to the point where I literally can just spot bots. They're just super easy to spot. Not the kind that respond to you on Twitter that are, whatever. These ones are just anywhere. I can spot them whether they have blue check marks or not. What I have noticed is a couple things, and there will be a video on this going into depth more on this in the future. But I've noticed that these bots are not just coordinated, but are probably being run. They're very similar. There's a lot of overlap between a bunch of different franchises as well. And another thing that these bots have in common here is that it's usually, so they usually come out after some event happens. So for example, if Star Wars Outlaws gets a trailer, we get bots the next day promoting said trailer.
And Master of the TDS, obviously that's because the bots, their job is, especially given the status of their blue check mark and how that impacts the algorithm, their job is to make sure that that trailer is trending. It doesn't matter if people don't like it. They are there to make it seem as if people love it, and they're going to make sure that it's trending no matter what.
Yes, exactly. And people have asked me, like, why are these bots active? What are they doing? And if you're thinking, oh, they're just to boost up posts, you would be kind of right, because they are trying to create somewhat artificial hype. If you'll go back to the first post here, you'll see that it has 4 million views. And it only has one comment. Now, it did say it had 15, but that was the only comment that showed up. And it has no likes and no retweets. So clearly it is boosting up these posts in the algorithm. The question is why? What do they gain from this? Well, it's because if there are a bunch of accounts out there all posting about Warhammer or Disney or Star Wars Outlaws, what's going to happen is certain keywords, it doesn't take much to get things to trend on Twitter. It really doesn't. You could have a handful of people tweeting out about something, and if they use the right keywords and they say the right things, it will get it trending. If not just specifically for you, it can even get it trending in a much wider scale. So the goal, I believe, is to get these things to trend so that people who are just looking at the trending tab, or people who are trying to make informed decisions, will go online and say, "Oh, look, Warhammer's trending, and it's trending with the words intense melee and visceral experience and cooperative. Oh, that's great. That sounds great for me." Now you might think, okay, well, why doesn't somebody just click that trending tab and look more into it? Because you have to ask yourself, who are these bots targeting? Because that's an important question. Because when you look at these bots and you understand what they're doing here, and we understand they're trying to manipulate the trending tab, who are they appealing to? Well, they're appealing to the normies, but they're also appealing to their corporate masters, meaning that this will look very good if you are able to say, not only does our game doing well and making this amount of money, but look, it's been trending for X amount of days on X, or it's been whatever. These companies aren't going to look into it as much. They're just not. These companies are spread very thin and stuff like that. So these companies are going to take the word for it, and they're going to look on trending, and sure enough, they're going to see it. Are they going to look closely at everything that we've seen? No. So it's important to qualify that. That's what I believe is going on here.
So I think it actually goes a little bit further. Let me toss this theory to you, and you tell me what you think about it. I think that, for example, Star Wars Outlaws, there is currently a very negative response, narrative, backlash to that game, which, by the way, is what Lucasfilm should be used to at this point. But if they deploy the bots, right, they've already deployed the shills. If they deploy the bots, and the bots are all positive, happy, rainbows, sunshine, everything's great with Star Wars. If the bots outnumber or outvolume the backlash, then they can at least compete with the backlash to create a false narrative. And they might even be able to outtrend the backlash. And therefore, that's the lead story on all of the access reactionary media, rather than the backlash, which is a narrative that is monetarily damaging to them. So it's not just promoting their media, it's also demoting the critical responses that might percolate up if not for a giant synthetic response by the corporation. Do you think that's true?
It's possible. I will say that some people have, because if you look at this, for example, here, let me can I bring up the Star Wars Outlaw one to show this?
Absolutely.
So here are some for Star Wars Outlaws. And as you can see, the weird part here is, I'm going to clarify why I think something weird is going on here, because I've actually noticed the bots have changed how they're doing things. And I've actually, that was something I didn't mention that I am going to mention here. But if you read some of these responses, you can tell very clearly that these are not people. So while I agree with you, it might be to boost up and make it look like there's a more positive reception, if anybody were to look just skin deep, they would see, something isn't working here. So this is where
I got a feeling Kotaku's not going to look, very deeply at this.
No,
you know what I mean? The drive-bys don't pay attention to the details.
Exactly. But here's what you want to look at. Notice something. What is the main post doing here that's different from the other posts that we've seen?
Please tell us.
Well, if you look at it, it almost looks like it's quoting an article. Does it not?
Huh. Yes, and I bet I could guess which article it is.
Now, I don't know what article this one is. I do know what article another one is, but why am I pointing this out? Why does it have an image? Why does it have whatever? Because it's getting around something that was implemented recently, which is the bot purge. Now, you might think, well, the bot purge hasn't really done much, and you'd be correct. However, there has been a change. Especially, and I'm going to tiptoe
hold
around
on,
this
TDS.
subject.
Hold on. For some out of the audience, they're not. They haven't been paying close attention, or maybe they're a new channel member, new subscriber. Can you tell them what you're talking about when you say the bot purge? What happened recently?
So Elon Musk recently announced that there was going to be a bot purge to deal with the amount of bots, especially the ones that automatically reply to whatever post you have, especially the ones that do link in bio or other things that I'm not going to repeat on this channel. But it kind of worked, but not really, because I haven't seen much of a difference except for in one area. Now, the area that I've seen, and I'm going to tiptoe around the subject.
Well, before you do, let me say this, because I know your response there was very humble. I just want the audience to know that I believe, and many out there believe, that what you had discovered and brought to the public's knowledge actually uh, was the cause of Elon Musk deciding to do this bot purge. So you have done a tremendous service, and so I just want to highlight that, because I know you're not going to say, by the way, folks, that was me that brought this to great attention, but you've done a tremendous job.
Thanks. But I'm being humble, but also being practical, because Elon hasn't interacted with me in any way, and I'm not sure he's going to. But I will say there is some credence to that potentially being, because one of the bots that was caught up in the purge was mzoop98874, which was the original account that was promoting Disney stock that I caught that started off this whole thing. So it's interesting that one of the first bots to go was this one, and I was keeping track of this one extensively. So I knew that it had been restricted, but it was not suspended until literally a day or two after the purge of the bots, or maybe even the same day. I can't remember exactly when it happened, but it was really close to when the bot purge was announced. So the fact that this account was one of the ones that was hit, either it was mass reported or maybe he is watching. I don't know.
Well, that said, you have discovered something that is just as fascinating, I think, and that has to do with an entire article. Can you show the folks what it is we're talking about an entire
I
article?
Want to clarify about why I think they're doing articles first, because I think this is important information that will interest you. So one of the things that the bot purge was meant to do is get rid of the link in bio bots. Now, let me ask you, Pro, has that worked?
No.
So I'm actually going to correct you. It has.
But in what way? The bots are still there in mass. So how has
you're correct. However, a new kind of bot has emerged.
Yes, I get what you're saying. Yes, it did stop that very specific strategy. It did not stop the overall bot swarm,
exactly.
Let's say.
But what is the new strategy? Have you seen it? Basically, the bot purge has been successful, as in the link in bio bots have reduced, but it's also caused another bot kind to emerge. Because what is getting these bots purged is an important question. What would it be? I believe it's the text, these certain kinds of text that they are using. So what have these bots done now? I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been a couple bots, especially a trend, where bots will now comment in response to you with an image. Now, the image is usually not very PG, let's put it that way. And it says, link in bio on the image, rather than just being text. Now, why is that important? Because it gets around the bot purge. At least that's what my belief is. Now, if you look here, this article that they're posting has an image associated with it. Isn't that weird? And it's an article. It's got a lot of text. Now, why would that be the case? Well, more text makes it look more organic to the sensors, and an image also makes it look a little bit more organic. Would you not agree?
Well, absolutely. It definitely, that looks way more human than what most of the bot messages have looked like in the past.
Exactly. I believe they have adapted to what's going on. I can't say for certain, but that's just my belief, is that they have adapted and are now trying to do things to make it look a little bit more human. The responses, not so much, because the responses are actually not as prone to getting suspended, I would say. But the main accounts definitely do.
Are you suggesting you've caused them to evolve then, Master the TDS?
No, I'm saying that Elon Musk has caused them to evolve, because he is trying and failing, I believe, partially on purpose to get rid of the bots.
Yes, and you and I talked before we went into this interview about why he might not be pursuing it as steadfastly as we would hope for, and that might have something to do with trying to court advertisers and get them on board with X before he goes about purging their bots so that, it's funny to me. Some of these companies may say that they're not advertising on X, then they sure do have some very friendly bots. We're not suggesting that they're paying them, but boy, are they ever friendly to them.
Yeah. And I know Disney recently caved and came back on their advertising again. Just throwing that out there. But here's what's interesting. So articles, where are they getting these articles? Well, I actually know one location because stupidly or on purpose, they left it in. So if you want to take a look here, right here is a giant tweet. It's in 3 parts because I had to cut it into pieces and then manually stitch it together. And as you can see, it's gigantic. Reason being is because it's an entire Kotaku article spit out word for word.
So why would they want to put an entire Kotaku article on a bot account? What's the point of it?
Well, the point is, first off, it makes it look a lot more organic, right? Because it doesn't look like something a bot would do.
Well, maybe you should choose a different website than Kotaku. I kid.
Well, if someone were looking at a post this big, right? And keep in mind, it's not in 3 parts. It's one long thread. So manually take it apart and stitch it back together as one gigantic thread. That's just one tweet. Think about that for a second. Would you look at that and think bot, or would you think someone posting an article?
Me personally, that's hard because I know too much at this point about these bots to be dissuaded. But I think for the average person, they would probably think about this. Why in the world did you post this?
Yeah, but they wouldn't look at it and go bot. Now I did, and as you can see clearly, there are a bunch of bots in the responses here. These are the responses where they're talking about they can't wait to explore new planets and encounter classic characters in Star Wars Outlaws. The trailer has me hyped for the adventure at hand, and a bunch more like that. But
so let me get this straight. So they posted the entire Kotaku article, thereby getting past the chances of Twitter/X coming down on them for being a bot. But then the replies are filled with bot responses, which then tricks the trending algorithms and all of that and creates greater visibility for Star Wars Outlaws. Is that what's going on here?
That's what I believe. That's what I believe because I've noticed a trend recently, okay? The blue check mark is meant to verify if you're human, right? So you think if if an account has a blue check mark, there's less likely that it'll get caught by the spam filters, right?
Sure.
But I've actually seen some blue check mark accounts, some of the ones that I've been cataloging have actually been getting restricted recently. It's been a trend since the bot purge. So when I say the bot purge when I say you're correct that it hasn't been successful, and then you're also wrong, that's what I mean. There are changes happening. It's not successful in the sense of wiping out the bots, but it is causing them to adapt, which means that it's doing something behind the scenes that we can't see, right? But if you post a giant tweet, it's going to look more organic, and it's very unlikely that it's going to set off any, problems. Now, could we potentially make a case here that maybe, and I'm saying this very hypothetically, could this be Kotaku? I don't know. I find it unlikely that they would do this, but it's Kotaku, so who knows?
So I have a curiosity about how many of these bots you think are being employed, because every single bot is somewhere between $8 and $15. And there seems to be a vast array of these blue check mark bots. In fact, Master of the TDS, I'm leaning towards the idea that many of the many of the ones that don't have a blue check mark actually are verified paying accounts that have just hidden the blue check mark. So how many accounts do you think are being employed?
I think a lot more. And I will tell you something. I believe I'm correct. And I believe because Elon Musk recently put out something. Well, he didn't put it out, but it's a thing that's going on. You have the option to hide the blue check mark as a premium account. It is going away.
And that will be a good thing, by the way, because I'm sick and tired not only of the potential for bots, but I'm also sick and tired of these people who want to promote their stuff on Twitter, but they also want to pretend like they're anti Elon Musk, anti X, and they want to have it both ways. And that's so annoying. But anyway.
Well, but that's been a thing for a while. So it begs the question, why make this change now?
Oh, I'm with you. It's definitely aimed at stopping this bot issue. But Master TDS, could you explain this image that we're showing on screen right now? Because this actually is meaningful. It's not, folks, this is not an atom with the most electrons you've ever seen. Master TDS, what is this exactly?
So I first have to give credit to Upper Echelon, Shino, and Sid Alpha on Twitter. They helped me do this. This is called a node graph. And what it does is it scrapes the data from a certain account and the accounts following it and determines how many of these are associated with the account and how many are interacting with it that don't appear to have any association.
Very interesting. Go on. We have colors. We have many white dots. I guess we could start with the white dots. What are the white dots in this map?
So the white dots are all accounts that are interacting with the main account. So keep in mind, this bot network thing was run on the bot that was posting the Kotaku article. So these are all of its following or people who follow it. And what we're seeing here is all of those gray dots you're seeing, those are potentially bots.
So the ones that are color-coded you think are human?
Well, either they're human or they're the central nodes, so to speak, meaning that there is a network of a couple accounts that are the quote-unquote main accounts, right? And those accounts are the ones that all the other accounts are meant to boost up or interact with. So when you see these, what this shows is that there are some accounts that are associated with each other. You can see there's a couple different colors. What does this mean? There are a couple different nodes here. So a lot of these accounts, all those colors there, potentially, if I'm reading this correctly, and again, I'm no expert on node graphs, so I'm just breaking this clear based on my information. All those accounts are potentially, each of those clusters are potentially promoting something else.
I see. So
now,
let me ask you this then. This is really intriguing to me. The system that we have on X is not very old. I mean, I don't know. It's been around for what, a year and a half now? Something like that? How did they stand up this kind of an effort with this kind of complexity this quickly? And it seems to have captured the entire entertainment industry. I mean, it's very rare that we come across something that isn't interacting with a vast array of bots, promoting it or demoting the disinclined narrative that corporations don't want you to believe in. So how do you think they did this so quickly with this kind of scale?
Easy. They're not making new accounts. They're buying old ones.
Bingo. Okay, that's what I was hoping that we could get to in the video. Why do you believe that? What has led you to believe that the system in place is to buy old accounts on some sort of crazy dark web marketplace for old, defunct, and abandoned X accounts?
So first off, let me correct you. It's not dark web. You can buy them pretty much on the regular web.
And perhaps we shouldn't say where that is.
I'm not going to, because there are plenty of accounts that if you wanted to find it, you could. And this is not a how-to guide. This is just making this clear. Now, the question you'd first want to ask is, why would they even want to buy old accounts? What's the purpose of that? Authenticity. You see, if an account was made in 2002, right? And the person used it for a little bit, and then the account went inactive. What do you think happens to the account?
It loses basically all visibility over time.
Well, yes, but also, what does the account disappear? No, it stays there. What happens? Hackers potentially go in there and get the passwords and whatever for said account, and then they put it on their website, and you can buy it. Not only that, but they might even use bot traffic to boost up its following count, or how many people it is following it, to make it look more authentic and more worthwhile, and then charge more for it. So they make money off of this, and then they have all these accounts that are potentially bots from old accounts, old inactive accounts. And where's the proof of this? Where is whatever? Well, I'm going to be covering this more extensively in a video where I'm going to show some of this proof, but to explain, it's all about the activity of the account. I've look into these accounts extensively, right? And some of these accounts have where they've had activity back in like 2012, right? And then it stopped. And there was no activity until 2024. Explain to me how that works.
Well, tell me this. How much do you think they're paying to buy these accounts? Because that's an extra expense even on top of then having this paid verified bank account system where they're being charged a subscription fee. So how much is it costing them to buy defunct accounts from the past?
Unfortunately, well, let's clarify. If there are accounts that have a certain amount of following or are followed by certain people, whatever, those potentially go up for more. Okay? But if you're asking me how much it costs, very cheap, because these sites will have sales and they will say, get 1,000 accounts from this for only this amount. Now, I don't know if it's exactly 1,000 or 100 or whatever volume they do, but I know they do sales and they will particularly take and buy these accounts in like batches. So it's not even that expensive.
Well, you have taught us a lot today, Master of the TDS. I would love to keep going, and I hope you'll be back on the channel soon. But I find it amazing how the entertainment industry is manipulating the online conversations and the visibility of things that are topical for the day. They're orchestrating it so that what they want to have out there is going to be what's out there. They're determining what will be talked about on the town square as best they can. But it's folks like you and it's places like this channel and yours that continue to shine a light on that and make that difficult. And I'm so pleased that you have persevered and continued to work hard on this. And I want to thank you for bringing this to the attention of so many. You have done a tremendous service for everybody who's trying to figure out exactly how all of this works. So thank you very much. Would you share with the folks out there what is coming up on your channel, Gothic Therapy?
So what's coming up on Gothic Therapy is we're actually making some changes, slight changes to our Sunday video, but that'll be more on that going forward. We make videos every Sunday unless there's a holiday where we cover pop culture and stuff like that. Usually 3 topics from the past week. So there are some changes coming to that. But in regards to bots, I'm hoping, and I say hoping because I do not know what my schedule is going to be like. And I'm trying very hard because some Jewish holidays are coming up and like Passover, and that's going to make it a little difficult. But my next video that I am working on that is pretty much all ready to go, I just have to sit and record it, is probably the biggest. You think the botting that I found right now is significant. I found more than that. It is the biggest botting I've ever seen. I literally have never seen this amount of bots being used to promote one thing. And it's promoting one thing and one thing only. A game that was worked on and was involved with Sweet Baby Inc. And that will be the next one. I have 52 pages of bots promoting that one game over the course of 2023 to 2024.
Get ready, folks. Things are just heating up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you like content like this, where we are enlightened so greatly by fantastic guests, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. No bots, you are not welcome to drop a comment. Only real people, please. Don't forget the Pro Show is live at noon Eastern Tuesdays. And, well, if you're watching this video on the time of release, we'll see you in a few hours. Big show coming up, exclusive scoops. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
No, hey Florent. What you doing? Thinking about Rome?
No, I wasn't. But thanks. Now I lost the game.
Dang it. Now I lost the game. Oh, no. Well, now you're a double loser.
Hey guys, you know what would help you in your grief?
forgetting those things and filling your mind with articles from thatparkplace.com and using that website as a launching pad to get you lost in thought with all of the team from there.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, well, Flora, would you look down here?
I hate you. Now,